Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Her Excellency. Welcome back to the Royal Court. I have missed you guys so much and I've been gone for a while. And with every New Year's resolution, everybody always wants to recreate, come back on their platforms. And I genuinely want to come back and reconnect with you guys. You guys have been so supportive and just tell you guys as to like what's been going on in my life. But before we get into the good stuff, before we really get back into creating, I just wanted to come in here and just give you guys a status update, especially on my mental health, because 2024 was a year. I feel like a lot of people felt that way. For those who can like come out instantly and say they had an amazing year, I'm so proud of you. For those of us that was fighting for our lives, this video is for you. Like I said, 2024 at first I thought was such a very trying year, but for me mentally it was really difficult. The height of it was the 3 weeks right after Thanksgiving. I fell into a deep depression. One thing that through the year that was helping my mental health is like I really got into cooking again, and one thing I started doing was making meat pies. I perfected my meat pie recipe, which is why this is the beginning of this video. But I just want to come in here to kind of share with you guys what I went through those 3 weeks and how the Lord pulled me out of it. When it comes to mental health as a believer, I personally have had the experience where everyone is constantly telling me, think about what God has said about you. No, don't say that you're depressed. Don't say this. And I'm laughing now because I'm at the other end of what I went through in 2024. But yeah, when I tell you people, those last, after Thanksgiving, that 3 weeks, 1, 2, 3, the wave of depression, the kind of spiritual warfare that the enemy puts inside those 3 weeks, I have never experienced. And I have been dealing with my mental health all through law school. Thankfully, God was able to teach me, help me through that season. The number one thing that he's taught me in that season, I should say, is that I have to be always honest about how I feel, especially mentally. Like, it doesn't help anyone for me to hide how I feel mentally. We have to recognize that God is also a God of emotions. God is someone that is very healthy with the way he expresses his emotions. Love is an emotion. Anger is an emotion. Jealousy is an emotion. Those things are all attributes that are mentioned about God in the Bible, and he's able to express them healthily. So for us to tell other believers to hide how they feel mentally, it's not serving us. So one thing is that we must acknowledge that we're struggling with our mental health. And one thing that helped me recognize that is I was studying the book of Samuel, and 1 Samuel 2:4, Hannah is praying to God and say, God, you strengthen the weak. We're all weak. We all have our moments of weakness, but until we're able to acknowledge that weakness and allow God to work within that weakness, he cannot be glorified by strengthening us. So it's very important to acknowledge your mental health, acknowledge what you're struggling with, acknowledge your emotions, and be honest with God. Say his name, like, Lord, my Father, like, I'm depressed, I feel sad, I feel unmotivated. So many people who follow God acknowledge their weaknesses. One prophet I want to highlight is Jeremiah. If you look at Jeremiah 1:5-8, you see when God called Jeremiah, he told him verbatim who he called him to be. Fast forward to Jeremiah 15 in verse 10. Jeremiah is cursing the day he was born because he was depressed. But despite being a prophet of the Lord, despite knowing that it was contrary to what God had said to him in chapter 1, he still spoke it out loud. And if you continue reading Jeremiah 15, you see how God comes in and tells him, hey, Jerbear, my homie Jerry, speak words of worthiness. Like, God is encouraging him back and don't say these things, reminding him, like, you know already what I said about you. If a prophet of the Lord can be depressed, what more are you? So say it out loud and tell the Lord how you're feeling. Second things that God showed me during that season is that it's okay to cry. I'm a crier. I cry for happiness. I cry for sadness, empathy. I'm a crier. Many times people take crying as a sign of weakness, but we have to understand that we have a God that does not shy away from his emotions. And if crying is required, then the body needs it. Like, God doesn't give us useless functions in our bodies. Stopping from yourself from crying does not make you stronger than anyone in this earth. It is okay to cry. It's a bodily function. Why would God give you a bodily function and you cannot use it? Cry me a river, cry. You can go on, cry. It is okay. It's a healthy way to let your emotions out. We even see Jesus in the Bible, John 11:35. Jesus wept when his friend Lazarus was dead. Even though Jesus, the guy on top, King of Kings, he knew he was about to raise Lazarus from the dead, he still wept, because that is a natural response to pain of losing your friend. Crying is a natural response, and we have to learn how to use it. It's a function that God gave us, and it's a blessing for us to be able to use it. And then we go to 1 Samuel 34. Now this is David. This story is about David, a man after God's heart. He wept. That's what he wept. So what happened was that David returned from almost war, because he didn't quite go to war. He almost war. And he saw that the Amalekites, they came and they took both his wives. He had 2 wives, and everyone else that was left in their camp. And the first thing David did was weep. He didn't stand on a soapbox to start encouraging everybody. Oh, we have to fight. We have to go do boss balls. You know what I mean? Like, he cried. Before he did any of those things, it says in the scriptures, David wept. And I think it's such a natural emotion to weep when people kidnap your wife and your village people. The third thing that the Lord showed me during the season was to remind yourself of the goodness of God. And let's take it back to 1 Samuel. I love 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 36, it said David strengthened himself in the Lord. Now, after David wept, that was the next thing he did. Now, strengthening yourself in the Lord doesn't necessarily mean you go into deep prayer, you're like speaking in tongues. No, you just need to sit down and you need to remind yourself of how good God is in the past, what he's done for you, how he has his hand upon your life. For me, what I kept on reminding myself, I graduated law school. I have friends and families who care about me. God has given me so much to be grateful for. And it took a while for me to strengthen myself in the Lord, because I had to keep reminding myself, and I wasn't perfect in this. It was hard, guys. It was very difficult. The example in John 11:41-42, Jesus remembering that the Lord always hears him. This is also strengthening himself in the Lord, like reminding yourself that God always hears me. Remember the time when people say you're living in answered prayers, for real, because when you really think about it, where you are right now, it wasn't where you are 2 days ago. You're literally living in answered prayers, and those are things that you can use to strengthen yourself in the Lord. And again, take your time with all these stages. This is not a 1 or 2 day thing and you're supposed to be fine. I mean, all glory and honor to the Lord if that's how it works for you. But for me, it took a while to even get to this headspace of making this video. The fourth, in 1 Samuel 30, verse 8, after David acknowledged his sadness and cried and strengthened himself in the Lord, he sought the counsel of God by praying to him as to what to do, and God answered him. As for people, when your friends or your family are going through stuff, don't be like, oh, have you prayed? Pray for them, but allow them to express their emotions. Prayer is going to come. Like, Lord is the one fighting the battles for us, but pray for them, intercede for them while they're going through this, but allow them to feel these emotions, allow them to express these emotions raw to the Lord. And the fifth and final one, is to seek physical help by speaking to your friends, your family. Find a mentor to speak to, a therapist, someone that you trust to help you through this. Like, this is a part that is often missed. People tend to say God will take care of it, and yes, he will, but we must leave all channels open for him to actually do the work. The Lord has allowed and ordained his children to be therapists, doctors. These are all gifts from the Lord to us, and we should be able to utilize them while holding on fully to our faith. So, what happened after those 3 weeks? After I got out of my 3 weeks of funk. Like, I had suicidal thoughts. I was just feeling so. But we praise God that we're out of there. But after I got through my 3 weeks of funk, I came back to a place where I truly looked at my 2024, and I saw that God never took his eyes off of me. He always, always had a hand on me. Was it like so many things I started remembering? Like, I was like, God, indeed you were there. Like, I graduated law school. I took the bar exam. I finished my internship in law school. I was supported by my friends and family through this, whether it was words of encouragement, quality time, of people just sending me financial support. Like, I was supported through that journey. And God also blessed me with a spiritual mentor in 2024. He blessed me with a church community that flew me to South Africa for free to bask in his glory. He took me to Tulum for free with his support, took me to New Mexico, took me to Puerto Rico, allowed me to encounter someone so special to me, delivered me from the spirit of lust, transformed my heart in so many ways. I can't even begin to speak of how good God was. In my midst of 2024, he was truly my firm foundation. God saw me. 2024 was my year of realizing God as my Elroy, because although the storms were present, although I was going through a lot mentally, all through the year, he never took his eyes off me. And once I realized that, by the mercy of God, I was able to give God all the thanks and glory for 2024 and not allow the enemy to receive that glory. And to this, I want to say thank you to my friends and family and everyone who supported me. My spiritual mentor told me for your words of encouragement when I really needed it. I just want to honor you guys, my friends, my family, my older sister. I just want to thank you guys, especially because you guys really made my 2024 a representation of God's love. All the times that we shared together, all the fun that we had, the travels. I would not be this person that I am today without you guys. I would not have realized that 2024 was a season, a year of God revealing himself as Elroy if I didn't have you guys. And I am so thankful for that. So I hope that this video helps somebody. Hope it encourages you guys to acknowledge how you feel and give it to the Lord. And I just want you to have hope that this is not the end for you. This is not the end of your life. As long as his breath is in your lungs, he has a purpose for you. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope this video encouraged someone to stay alive. I love you, but not more than Jesus does. Bye-bye.